Hey there, welcome back to the channel PantherSchools. My name is Amit Singh, and we are again back with the scenarios related to Salesforce flow. So far, we have basically talked about the different scenarios. But today, we are not going to actually work on a scenario, but we are going to work on a very important concept, that is the logging or error logging, you can say error handling, or you want to log some information into the system for future reference, right? So far what we did is, no matter either we used record triggered flow or we created a screen flow, we have seen that we are basically either using some sort of actions to send the email if there is any error, or we are using post to chatter to basically post some information into the chatter if there is any error, or we are skipping that with the help of assignment. Now today we are going to talk about the logging framework. The logging framework that can be used for logging any sort of error or success or information into the system, as well as this framework will be developed in such a way that it can be extended to basically log other kind of errors which are coming as part of your Apex, or Apex could can contain like your triggers, your handler classes, helper classes, batch apex, queueable, or any type of asynchronous apex that are there, including the lightning web components and aura components. So that is what we are going to talk about today. For the basically for this video purpose, I have already set up a couple of things over here. Not actually the couple of things, but what I have done is I have created a custom object which is going to be our logger object, and we are going to store any information, any error, or if you want to store success or information, we can use that into that logger object. We can store that information there, and this is really good practice whenever you will be working into the projects which are enterprise or medium skill project. You will need this kind of logging capabilities, okay? And as we are in the flow scenario, we are going to more focus on flow based logging, but as I said, you can extend it to the other components that are available in Salesforce. So for the ease of this video, for the ease of this video, I have created an object called system log, and that object actually have a custom tab as well. If I go ahead and search for this object called system logs, it actually basically, this is a custom tab that we've got system log, and if I click on new, you can see that these are the various fields which I have created. I'll talk about the purpose of each and every field. So the log title, I have created this as a text area long field, and there is a purpose behind that. And the log title is basically going to store the title of your error. Either there was an error while creating the contact, account, some other things. This is the title that will store the title. And there is a validation rule behind the scene. So log title will always be a required field. There is a validation rule on that side. Then we have got a log label. What is the label of your log? Information, debug, error, warning, or success. If it is a child log, okay, there could be a use case where you wanted to basically store a log inside a log. So that is why it says parent log. So do you want to send an email whenever a log is created? So that checkbox is basically for that purpose. The name of the component, especially for the Apex related components, the name of your Apex trigger, name of your Apex handler class, batch class, or if it is LWC component, then the LWC component name, the method name, and the complete error, the stack trace. So if there is any error, there is any exception, you get the complete stack trace that will be basically stored in this field. Then under the error details, there is a field called message. Now this field message can store the information if it is the information log or success log or maybe debug log, or if there is any error, you can store the error message. That is why the title says error. Again, it's a text area long field. Now the key part which is related to flow details. the name of your flow, what is the interview GUID, what is the node. We'll talk about all these components while we implement this. Flow node, what is the type of your flow, what is the flow API name, when the interview started, when the interview end, the status, what is the flow version, what is the flow namespace, what or how much actual time that flow has taken to execute it completely. So you don't need to populate all these. There would be a automation which will be running behind the scene, which we will be writing in a few minutes. Then you got resolution details, where who is going to work on this issue, whom it is assigned. Basically it is the lookup to user, what's the status, by default it will be new, and what are the resolution comments. Now this is a basic logging object. You can create more, like uh, the information about the user who has logged this information, maybe the profile, their permission set, their username, roles, and other things, right? Now there are few things you might be looking at: the picklist label or picklist values for log label. So you can see the values are info, debug, error, war, and success. These are basically the picklist value for log label. Similarly, the picklist value for flow type is screen flow, scheduled flow, record triggered flow, platform event flow. You can keep it as per your need. It's not necessary that you put whatever I have seen over here, or I have I'm showing you over here in the screen. Then there is another picklist field called status, which is, again, these are some of the options that are there. According to yourself, you can again add or remove certain options which are not needed for your case. So this is basically what are the picklist options. Rest all basically make sense, and you can see some of them are text area, some of them are text, checkbox, lookup, text area long, and all the details are there. Now let's see how we are going to use this custom object, the logging object, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to basically first, again, this is my object, and I talked about these are all the fields. You can look into these fields, okay, and I'll try to put the field information under the pinned comment of this video in the form of SFDX project, so that you can get it. So you will be able to see that information. So this is basically what we have, okay. Now let's go to the case object, okay. Let's go to the case object, and we will write a validation rule which will eventually throw the validation every time a case is created, just for the testing purpose. So let's go to the validation rules, and there is already a case which is not active. It says case cannot be created. Let's edit it and activate it. So this is a very simple validation rule. You can see here it clearly says that run every time whenever a case is created and throw this error, case cannot be created. Why we are doing this? We are basically going to write, not even write a flow, we are going to use existing flow. It could be a screen flow or record triggered flow, and we will now utilize our logging object to store any error, okay, to store any information. Let's go back and find our object, not object, or flow, and I'm sure we definitely have created a flow for creating the case record. So let me see here. I've got this. So we have created a flow. If you are following all my videos, you will see that there is a flow which we have created, and the name of flow is create case from contact detail page. That is basically the name of our flow is. And if I open the contact detail page, you will also see that the flow is actually added under the details page of the contact record. So here on the right hand side, you will see that the flow is added, okay. Let me basically, if you are not able to see, yeah, you can see that flow is basically added over here. So this is what it is. Now if I try to provide maybe anything, say test blah blah blah, okay, I'm just selecting some random numbers and create case, and we got the error, okay. What is that error? Error is field custom validation exception, case cannot be created, and this is the complete error. This is what the error is, right? Now this is the one thing that we have. User is able to see in the UI. There are triggers, the record triggered flow where user is not able to see the error in the UI. Or even if the user is seeing this error, we might want it to store it, right? So how we do it? So for that, we'll open this flow, the flow that we have created, we have developed earlier, and we are basically going to create a new version of this flow. As you know, once the flow is activated, we have to create a new version. So let's create a new version. Now, this is the existing flow that we have. This is the existing flow that we have. We got the case information, and if there is any error while creating the case, we are basically going to show the error. That is fine. Now, before we actually show the error, before error screen, we are going to add one more component here, which is going to be create record, and we'll say cr02, and we'll say create system log. We want to create the system log record. What would be the, how many records we want? Only one. But how we want to set the value? We want to set the value manually. You can also set it with the help of transform element. We have already talked about a lot of times, but here I want to set it manually. So I'll say system log, and I will get all the required fields automatically listed down here for me to populate the value. So what is the name of my flow? The name of my flow is create case from contact detail page. What is the flow node? Now this is important. Flow node is cr01 create a case record. This is the name of my node, and that is why I keep using the different annotations over here, the notations, so that I can utilize later in my logging framework. So what is the name? It is cr01, and it is create a case record. Do not select it, you have to type it as it is because it's a text field. Now once someone goes to the system log record and looks at this, they will know that okay, this is the object, sorry, this is the flow, and in the flow this is the place where it is failing, right? What is the type of flow? It is a screen flow, so I'm going to select a screen flow from the drop down. What is the log label? It is error, so I'm going to select error. What's the status? By default it is going to be new. Now there are few things which are pending over here. What is that few things? One is the error title. Okay, sorry, it should be title, that is log title, and the other one is message. These are the two things which are missing here. And one more thing, while you are logging any error from the flow, you have to populate one more field called flow interview flow interview GUID. This is something you have to populate. There is a reason for this, so we will populate it. So what is the message? The error message, it is going to be flow, the global variable, flow.fault message. We got the error. What is the GUID? It is again going to come from the running flow interview, and we are going to set, sorry, GUID. There is a field called interview GUID. Select that. What is the title? Title is, we can say, error, and you can say while creating the case record. Okay, creating the case record. This is basically where the error is. Now let's go ahead and save this. Let's go ahead and save this. So now we have saved these changes, and if I go now, this is also something which might create a problem, right? It might create a problem while we are trying to insert the system log object or the record for system log object. So how we are going to fix this, or how we are going to tackle this? Now we are going to escape it with the help of assignment, because we cannot keep adding the error logs handling multiple times. Okay, so let's go ahead, add a fault path, add an assignment here, and we'll say A00 skip the error propagation. Skip the error propagation. Okay. Forget about my typo. That is fine. What is we are going to do? We are going to create a variable here, new resource. Let's create a variable and we'll say where error message. Data type is text. Click on done and we'll say where error message equals the message which we are getting from the flow. However, we are not doing anything, but let's do this. Now you have made the changes that you are going to create a record, then you are going to display the error message as well, and you are going to basically, if there is any error while creating the system log record, you are going to skipping that. Okay, so that user actually don't get anything in the UI, anything weird in the UI. Let's debug it. Again, we are going to debug it. We will take the record ID from the contact here, click on run, and here again we know that there is going to be an error. Now this is a screen flow, and you know that screen flow runs in the commit mode. So as soon as I click on create case, there would be an error. Record for the system log will get generated, it will get inserted into the system, and a screen will be displayed and the record will be committed. So let's click on create case. We got that error. You can also see on the right hand side, create system event. This is the log that you are seeing, and a record has been created. Let's get back to our tab. Let's get back to the tab system log. Okay, you can see there is one log got created. This is the log that I have, and if I click on it, you will see all the details. The highlight panel where I get error, status is new, related records. I am coming to this point. Flow name, what is the flow name, what is the type of flow, and what is the parent name. Okay, that is also here. That's fine. Parent name is we have to check it. What is that? Then we got this, all these details populated. What is the message, the flow details, these are all still not populated. We will talk about from where we will populate it. And related records is NA, and I can now assign it to myself. I can now assign it to myself. So this is basically the error is there. Now let's say you have a ability. What you are trying to do, you are trying to create a case from the contact record. So what if you want, if you have the parent record, if you have a parent record under which you are creating the system log, so what if you found a way to basically you found a way to relate these logs with the parent object, with the parent basically record. It could be contact, it could be account, it could be case, it could be order, opportunity, lead, anything. What if you can do it? How you are going to link it? Again, if you have a parent object, if you have a parent record under which you are creating the log. In our case, we had tried to create a record from the contact object. So we already have the existing parent record, and we can link our basically log object under that parent record. So to tackle this, what I have done is I basically have under this system log object, I have created 3 new fields. Okay, 3 new fields. And what are those 3 new fields? 2 of them are basically parent ID and parent name. Parent ID is basically the ID of the parent record. It could be contact, account, order, opportunity, lead, anything. And parent name is basically the name which will be displayed in the system log record. It could be the order number, it could be the opportunity name, it could be work order number, it could be case number, anything. And then I have created a formula field called related record, which is a formula field which will basically create a hyperlink to navigate to the parent record. So how this will work now? Let's go back to our case, to our flow and edit this create system log record. Let's edit this. And as we talked about, there are two new fields. So we have to go and populate parent ID and parent name. Do we have parent ID? Yes, that is the record ID. Do we have parent name? No, we don't have parent name. So we can say contact record. Okay. If you want, you can query that contact over here, and then you can populate the contact name, whatever the name of that contact is. That is the best practice. But if you don't have the parent name, you can always populate the simple value, or you can leave as it is. You can leave, that is also going to work. Okay. Let's go ahead and save it now. And this time a new record will get created and we will see what will happen. So let's go ahead and click on duplicate. And this time I'm going to again take the ID of the contact, which is Josh Davis Senior. And okay, let's close this and provide the ID. It could be anything. I'm just trying to say anything. Click on create case. Again, a new record has been created for our system log. Let's get back to system logs. You can see 1001, that is the new record. Assign is not there, and there is a related record. Open this. You can see there is a related record, and this is what the parent name is. So whatever the value you put in the parent name, that will be displayed over here. Now if you click on this contact record, it will open that record, whatever the record was, whatever the contact was. Let's try to open another contact. Maybe I would say Siva Sahu. Okay, and I will try to run again. Sorry, let me debug this again. The flow. Okay, change the record ID, provide anything. It's going to basically not get reflected in the system. Click on create case. A record got created, 1002. Let's get back to the system log again. You can see here 1002. This time again it says same thing. It's not showing us the name, which is not looking good. But if you click on this, it will take you now to the Siva Sahu record. So that is basically how you are going to link your records with the parent object. Okay. Now you can go and modify your case record basically to query the related contact. So let's go ahead and do that actually. So let's say get record, and we will say ZR01 get contact record. Which object we want? We want a contact object, and we want based on the ID equals record ID, which we have only one record we need. And if there is any error, you can again go back and attach it. You have to create another basically component to create the record of the flow. For now, I am basically going to add a fault path and connect it here to the skip element. I'm just doing it for the now. Again, it's not a best practice. I'm repeating, it is not a best practice. You have to add the element to create the record into the system log object. Okay. Now let's go ahead and edit this system log object where we are creating, and instead of contact record, now you can say contact from gr01, and you can say the name, because you are querying, so you will get the full name of the contact. Let's go ahead and save this again, and we will test it with a different contact this time. So let's get back to the contact, open another contact, maybe Jacob Jones. You can create any another contact, you can use any other contact, or you can use the same one which you used in the previous basically demo. Let's debug it again. Use the record ID, and this time again you're just saying, okay, let me do certain things and say create case. A record is again created here for system log. Let's get back to the system log record. Okay, let me increase the width. You can see here and you can see this time it said Jacob Jones. So whatever you provide into the parent name field, it is basically going to take that field and it will display in the UI. If you do not provide anything, so whatever you have provided into the parent ID, the same ID will be populated to create the link. And if you do not provide parent ID and parent name, like this, the very first record, it is going to display NA. That means there is no parent record. Okay. Now let's go ahead and activate our flow, because our flow is done, and the same thing can be implemented into all other flows that you have. Let's close the flow and let this validation rule be active as of now, and get back to our system log record. Next, what? How to populate all these details? Because Amit, you haven't talked about populating these details. So how you are going to populate? Are we going to populate it manually? If yes, how do you find the information about time start and end, about the status of our interview, uh, how many times you need to look at what is the version of the flow which is creating the problem, if it is a part of managed package, what is the namespace, how we are going to calculate it, right? So for this, Salesforce, basically every time a flow runs, there is an interview gets created. We talked about flow interview, right? And for every flow interview, there is an object got created which is flow interview log. The object name is flow interview log. And if you query this, if you query all the fields, you will get the information about what is the flow developer name, what is the flow GUID, and all other details you get under the flow interview log object. Okay, you get all those details under that. Whatever you're debugging, you might not see over here. Next thing is also there is another object called flow interview. You can get flow interview is also there, and then there is something called flow interview log entry. So you can just try to see what exactly you are getting into the flow interview log, flow interview log entry. You'll get all the details over here. You see here, you get the name, you get whatever basically you are getting here. Log entry is basically going to store the every step information. You don't need that log entry object. What you need is, let me see, flow interview log is your key object, your target object, but you can also look at the flow interviews as well. So flow interview log, flow interview log entry, and there are other objects that you have. So you can see this is talking about flow interview. Okay. So now, Amit, you talked about you get the information from flow interview log, but how do we get this information, right? How do we get this? So first of all, let me tell you one thing. When you run your flow, a log is created, but you don't get this information like when this, you might get a start time, but you might not get end time. You might not get the correct interview status. You might not get the, you might get basically flow number, version number, that is fine, but you might not get the interview duration, right? So how we are going to get this? So here is what we will do. We will create one record triggered flow on this system log object, which will run after a minute as soon as this record is created, and flow interview GUID is not null. So a record is created for system log object, flow interview GUID is not null, then run a flow after 1 minute and populate all these details. So how we do it? Let's go and create a new flow, and this is going to be a record triggered flow because we don't need a human intervention here. So let's start from scratch. A record triggered flow, and what is our object? System log. When we want to trigger? When a record is created. Set entry condition, we definitely want to have that. And what is that entry condition? Flow interview GUID is null false. Okay, And let's add one more thing over here. We'll say flow interview GUID does not equal to null. And one more thing which we will say, flow type is null false. So we are making sure that the flow type is populated, and we are also making sure that the flow interview GUID is also populated. Optimize for actions and related records. And then next what we need to do is we need to click on add scheduled path. You can see this is a button. Let's click on add scheduled paths. And now here there is something called run immediately and there is something called new scheduled path. So we have to take this new scheduled path and we need to provide the value, the label. So we will say after 1 minute, after 1 minute of created date. So after 1 minute of created date, we want to run our flow. So what is the time source? System log created date. Offset 1. What is the offset option? Minutes after, 1 minutes after. So if you want to run your flow after certain minutes, certain hours, certain days of a date field or a date time field, you have to use scheduled path. Okay, we'll talk about more scenarios later on, but for now we need to use scheduled path. Let's go ahead and save this, and we will say populate relevant flow information. Populate relevant flow information and save it and close this. Okay, you might get this error, you can ignore as of now, you don't need to do anything. Now our logic should run after 1 minute. We don't care about what is there in the immediately. Okay, we don't care about that. So after 1 minute, let's click on plus sign, and the very first thing we have to do is we have to query interview log. The flow interview log has to be queried from the database, and then we need to update our record. So we have to say get record, and we will say gr01, and we will say get flow interview log. What is our object? Flow interview log. What is the condition? The condition is where id, no, not id, there is something called flow interview GUID. Flow interview GUID equals the GUID which we have got into our record log. Okay, so we'll say GUID, flow interview GUID. How many records? Only one record, because there will always be only one record, and done. Once you've got the information, you again click on plus sign and you have to say update record. Update records. You'll say UR01, sorry, UR01, and you'll say up. So I'm saying populate the system log with flow details. Use the system record that triggered the flow. Yes, we want to populate that flow only, so we will use that only. How we want to update the values. Now we need to populate few fields. What is that fields? Flow version type. That is the one thing. Second thing is interview duration in minutes. Third thing is interview end time. Fourth, interview start time. Then there is called interview status. Then we have got what is that? Namespace, right? Flow namespace. And there has to be one more thing, or if there is anything pending, let's go to log, open a log. So we got, yes, flow API name, that is still pending, right? So we have total 3 and 4, 7 fields. So we will say flow API name. These are the fields we need to populate. Now let's go to the flow version. How we will get? We will get from flow interview log dot, there is a field called flow version number. Then again for interview duration in minutes, we will find that field interview duration in minutes. For end timestamp, again we are going to get from there interview end timestamp. Then we will get interview start timestamp, interview status. All these fields are here. I have taken it from here only. Then flow namespace. So we get namespace is here, and finally the API version. Flow developer name, which is flow API name. and you are done. So you have basically populated your fields. You have populated your fields into the object. Now again, there could be a problem while you are updating the record. Add a fault path. Do not forget to add a fault path. This is really important. Now what to do here? Your record is created, but it is getting some error while updating, right? If you want, you can skip with the help of assignment, or you can add a post to chatter and put the information that this is what the error occurred while you updated, so that you get to know that there is certain errors. How do you get, right? You have to do something, right? So let's add post to chatter here. Post to chatter. So our aim is to get the error uh, if we can get at any cost. So we will say it is action. So AC01 post to chatter. What is message? Whatever the message we are getting from the running flow interview fault message. What is our target? Target is triggering record.id, our system record ID, system log ID, right? And similarly, sorry, do it for the other system log. Connect it here. If there is any error while posting, then you can skip this now. You can skip this with the help of assignment, and you can say AS00, and again you can say skip the event propagation. Please forgive about my typos, and we will create a new variable called where error message text, and you can say flow dot fault message, and you're done. So you have basically made sure that your flow is running after a minute, getting the interview log details, updating the record with the relevant information. If there is any error, handling that as well. And now go ahead and activate this flow, because we cannot test it. Okay, you can try to click on debug. You can get it. You got the system log. Yes, you can do it. You got the system log. Which path you want to debug? You want to debug it after a minute, because there are two paths now. Select that, click on run, and it says that yes, it has done the things. If you go here to get record, it says fail to find the records, and it has updated something with the simple details with blank values, because there was no flow log, flow interview log found for that. You can always add a condition over here if the record is found, right? You can add a condition if the record is not found, then only update. So let's save as a new version. I was in a hurry to activate this, right? I forgot my lesson only to debug the flow before activating it. So let's add a condition here. Decision will say DC001, sorry 01, check if the record is available. If the flow is found, you can put any name here, and we say log found. Default outcome is log not found. How do we check if log is found or not? We will say under get record, we'll find record ID is null, false. If the record ID is null, basically if the record ID is not null, then that means the record is found. If log is not found, we are going to end our flow by adding the end element. Go ahead and click on save, and now we can go ahead and debug it again. So let's debug. I want to debug it after a minute. System log could be anything. Run it, and this time it will say that you had made a query but the record was not present. Okay, now it looks okay for me. Let's go ahead and activate this. This is what we can test. After that we can't test. Now the time is to work from starting to end, to test from starting to end. We will create a case, error will come, a flow record will get created, and after a minute all the details should get populated. Let's get back here and go to the contact record. This time we are going to create from the contact record only. We'll say this is a test case. Priority could be anything, and I'm just saying create case. Let's see what happens. So we got the error. Let's click on finish. Let's go to the log object. We got number 4. Bartha Gomes is here. Let's click on it, and the details are not here as of now. How do we know if our flow has triggered or not? For that, let's go to setup. Let's go to setup and search for monitor. If you search for monitor, you'll find something like time-based workflows. The name says workflows, but click on it and then click on search button. You will see here for log 1004, the record has basically submitted at this date. Okay, so there is one record. Our flow has triggered. It is scheduled for to run after a minute. Let's click on search. Again, it is still there. Let's wait for this to get executed. In the meantime, let's talk about next set of things. Now, Amit, we got the log created, we got the details populated. What if we want to notify it to certain users, to group of users, that there was some error? This user has created that error. This is the error. How we do it? Can we send an email? Whenever a log is created, the checkbox send email is checked. The log label is basically error. We send the email. Can we do it? Yes, we can do it, right? For that, again, we have to create an email template to send the email. We have to create some configuration where we can configure to whom we need to send the email, and we need to write another record triggered flow for sending the email. Because we are not specific to flow, we have to write another flow. Why? Let me talk about. So if I talk about the flow we just created, which is running 1 minute after and another one is running immediately. So if I run a code here to send the email, it will only send the email for the records which are created as part of flow errors. What if the records are created as part of other components like Apex, LWC, Batch Apex, or anything else, right? So we are going to create another flow. So let's go back and let's create another flow. Again, this is going to be a record triggered flow. So whenever a record is created and the record is type of error and the checkbox is checked, okay, a record is created or updated basically. So let's select system log. Event is a record is created or updated. The conditions, let's have the condition here. Number 1, the log label, it should be equal to error. We only want to send the error emails. Next thing is that send email is should be equal to true. Okay, and it should only send if the record is updated to meet the criteria, not every time, because there is a possibility you are updating a record but it is not for sending the email, it is you are assigning a record to someone else. So that is why we will choose this. Okay, and we are going to say actions and related records. Go ahead and save it. Then you can give the name of your flow, saying send error emails. Send error emails to group of users. This is going to be your flow. There is nothing as of now because this is a blank flow. What you need, we talked about, you need an email template. We talked about you are going to need a configuration where you can configure to send the email, and you need an email alert which will be used for sending the emails. So before we go ahead, let's quickly go back to our time-based workflows. Click on search again and our flow is gone. It has executed. Let's get back to our record and refresh this page. See what happens. You can see here we got all other details populated here. It was version number 2. Interview status is completed. It is started at 3:38. It completed at 3:38. and it has taken 0.028 minutes to complete, right? So we are able to get those details. Now we are happy with that. It's time to send the email. If you want, you can take a break of 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and then come back and start watching this. Okay, now what we need is we need a configuration. So we will create a custom metadata. Custom metadata is basically going to use for storing some static things which can change at a certain interval. So let's go to the setup, custom metadata types, new custom metadata, and you can say here error log, not error log, system log email configurations. System log email config, that is the name of my custom metadata. You can do it anything, and plural label is going to be system log email configs. I'm going to remove underscore from my object API names and click on save. I got this custom metadata. Let's create a new field that is going to be a type of checkbox where I would say active. If this checkbox is checked, then only I will send the set of fields, okay? And then I'm going to create a text area field, maybe text area long, and we will say emails, comma separated. I'll just have 1000 characters. The length or maximum length is thousands. I don't need anything additional. And click on next, add to the layout and save. We need only 2 fields. As I said, you can extend it as per your need, but we just need 2 fields. Click on manage, new, and we will say error log emails. It's active. Whom I want to send it? I want to send it amit@1dreaming.com, and maybe I can send Amit, I would say sfdcpanther@gmail.com, comma separated. That is why we said emails comma separated. Okay, go ahead and save it. So we got a configuration ready. We need an email template. There should be an email template, right, which we will be sending to these people, that there is an email. For that, we are going to take help from the ChatGPT to generate the email template for us, and we are going to utilize as it is. So I have opened ChatGPT over here. I am going to say write an HTML email template. Write an HTML email template, a beautiful HTML. Okay, write a beautiful. Okay, write a beautiful. Okay, write a beautiful HTML template for sending the email notification when there is any error occurred in the Salesforce. The information is stored into a custom object called system log underscore underscore c. Okay, I'm just giving certain information, I'm giving some context. Okay, system log underscore underscore event, include the CTA in the email for navigating to the error log record. What the CTA means? Call to action. So there would be a link in the email so that when the user clicks on it, it navigates to the record. Let's hit enter, and I'm going to get the beautiful email template here. You'll see it is writing a beautiful email template for me. Now this email template is being written, so we have to see how it actually looks like. We cannot go and blindly use it, right? So we will use a website called w3schools.com, and we are w3schools.com, and then click on try it yourself. It is going to open a new URL for you, which is a tiny editor. We are going to basically paste our code here, click on run, and we will see what is the output. Let's get back to GPT. GPT has given the details to us. Let's copy. Let's click on this copy button. Go back to W3 Schools, paste it and run it. Looks good, right? It's not that bad. Can we ask the GPT to make it more beautiful? We can say, let's say, make it more beautiful and modern like. So now GPT is going to say, okay, you asked me to make it more beautiful, I'm going to do it now in a different way. So it's trying to write certain things over here. So it has, I'm not sure if it is really made beautiful or not. Let's copy it, and it has done something, and that is fine. We are not going to basically now waste much time on it. So let's go ahead and take this code, go back to Salesforce. While you are on the setup, search for email template. Search for email template, select classic email template. While you are under unfilled public classic email template, click on new template. Custom, HTML, custom without using classic letterhead, that is our option. Go ahead, click on next. Make sure you select available for use. Email template name, you can say error, not error. You can say system log notification. The subject, you can say error occurred in the system. Okay, you might change it. I'm going to keep as it is, and now I'm going to write after clicking on next, wait for some time. It takes time to render the next set of things. Okay, I think my next is not working. Okay, let's see. It will take some time to, and not, you should not take that much time. So here it is now asking us to provide our HTML body. Let's paste it over here. We need to basically change few things. What are the things we need to change? Oops, what is that? Yeah. So first thing, let's copy this subject Salesforce error notification, paste it over here. Or instead of the subject hard coding, what you can do is, see for the select field types, select system log, and from the source field, select log title. And you find this merge field, copy it and paste it here, error occurred in the system, and you paste it, the log title there. You have to put it over here. You have to put your log title as well. So let's say we are going to add one more. I'm going to add one more paragraph here. Do a copy paste, and we will say error title. Paste it whatever the system log that you have found. Error type is always going to be error because it's not necessary, it's not relevant. I'm going to remove this. What is my error message? I have got a field called message. When it is created, that's fine. Created date, related component. You can put it over here, maybe the parent name if there is anything, right? So that is, the API name is parent name underscore C. If you want, you can put a stack trace. That is also one good thing you can put over here. Let's say you are putting, let me add a paragraph here, and I would say more details. Not mode, it should be more details. Okay, what is the field? That is stack trace. I'm going to use that. So let's take it as stack trace here. Please review the error details and take the necessary actions, and this is our call to action. So system log.link is going to basically take it to the record link. Let's click on preview button and see how it looks like. It still looks good. Okay, let's go ahead and click on next. It is now going to take us to the text body. Let's say copy text email and save it. So we have prepared the template. Now we need to make sure our fields are binding correctly. For that, we will click on send test and verify merge fields. Okay, something has happened. I'll click on send text and verify merge fields. It's taking me to a blank screen. For time being, I'm just going to increase the width and set send test and verify merge fields. Now I am taken to the next screen, and I'm going to select related to record is going to be system log. Let's select a record over here, maybe 104, click on OK, go back to your template, and you can see the details are being populated here. Okay, the details are being populated. You can make it more beautiful, put it in a tabular format, do something. I'm not going to do that now. And view error log, if you hover over and on the bottom left, somewhere on the bottom left, you will see that there is a link which is being displayed. That means our basically our email template is ready. We are ready to send the notification. Now we need to create workflow email alert. So let's say workflow. From the setup, search for workflow and you'll find something called email alerts. Click on it and then click on new email alert, and here we will say send error log emails. Okay, error log emails to group of users. What is the object? Object is system log. What is our template? Our template is basically going to be system log notification. Is this what the template we have created? I think yes, but let's cross check once. Email template, classic email template, and we have created today only. So if we say last modified date, system log notification, yes, that is correct. Recipient type, leave as it is. I think we don't need this error log. There is a reason behind this not needing of this error log. Okay, sorry, this email alert, we don't need it. Let's cancel it. We are not going to need it. Why? Because we are going to take care from the flow itself. Now let's go back to your flow, refresh the page once. The first thing what we have to do is we have to query the configuration. Let's query the configuration. We'll say get records and we will say zr01 query emails. That's it. Which object is that? That is, I think, system log configuration. System log email config. How we want to have? We want to have, make sure these are basically active equals true. There has to be something. And we are going to make sure the emails is null false. There is something populated in the emails. Then we will say emails does not equal to null. That's what we did. We only need one record, that is fine. Let's add a fault path. We will do it later on. Next, what you have to do is you have to basically use a decision element. Let's use a decision element dc00, check if the config found. For the outcome, config found, and for default outcome, config not found. How we will say config is found or not? We are going to say get record, which we have used, that is system log, and then we will say active equals true. If the active is true, that means log is found. Okay, let me do it again. Yes. Okay, so system log found. Let's, if say we didn't found system log, we are ending this. Okay, if the system log is not present. If system log is present, we need to get the email template which we have created. So let's again use a get record. Get records, we'll say zr02 and we'll say get, we'll say email template. We are going to make a query on email template object, email template, based on the name, right? So what is the name of our email template? So our email template name is sorry, just a minute. Email template, we are going to use email template unique name. Okay, so let's take email template unique name. Email template name, that is going to be developer, which is unique name, equals, paste the name of your email which you've got, email system log notification. Make sure you are getting only one record and go ahead, click on save. So you got email template. Now you have to check if the email template is present or not. So let's add one more condition. This is an element, and we will say DC01 check if email template found. For the new outcome, say email template found, and for default outcome, let's say email template not found. How we will say if email template is found? We'll add a condition and we will say if email template dot id is null, false. And we will add one more condition. We'll say email template dot id does not equal to null. Sorry, it's not taking. We'll say is null, false. Okay. If email template not found, we are again going to end our flow. We are not going to do anything. And if email template is found, we are going to send the email. So let's add a fault path to the get record earlier. Now to send the email, let's click on plus and we will search for action. And from the list of actions, we need to search for send email. Send email. We need to select that. And this is action 01. We'll say send email to users. Add a token to the thread body. We don't want to add it. Okay, let me make sure it is visible to everyone. Add a token, we don't want to add it. What we want to do is we want to have an email template because we have the email template ID. So where is the email template ID? We'll say we got it from get records email template.id. Log email on send. Yes, we want to log the email. Whenever the email is sent, we want to log at the record label. Recipient address collection or recipient address list. So if you click on this, you can see recipient address list. It says a comma delimited. That is why we talk about provide the value of the emails comma delimited. So we will say system log config dot email comma separated. Recipient ID we don't need to provide. Related record ID is the record ID of our system event, because this is the record where we are sending. This is the record where the email will be logged. Okay, under that. Rich text formatted body, yes, the body is HTML body, so we will send a true for rich text formatted body. Subject is there in our flow, sorry, in our email template. Sender type we don't want to put. Sender email address we don't want to put. You can put it to basically utilize your org wide email address, but for now we will not do it. Let's go ahead and make sure we are changing. Now there is something we are getting. It says that this field is required when template ID is included. If we are including the template ID, then the field is required. We have to basically provide who is the recipient, right? Who is the recipient? So let's put the record owner as the recipient also, so that whoever the user getting the record, they also receive the error emails. You can again do it later on, but not going to do it. And now finally let's add a fault path. Fault path is again going to be skipped with the help of assignment. A00 skip. And how we will skip? By creating a variable. Data type is text. Click on done and value will come from the flow fault message. And this is where every fault path will be connected to. So let's connect our fault path, and we are going to connect other fault path as well. So your flow is ready. Go ahead and save it. So whenever you are updating your flow, whenever you are creating your flow, the updating or creating the system log record, and that send email is checked, the type is the label is error, it is going to send the email. Let's click on debug, run immediately when a record is created. Let's click on log and say run. It's not triggering. Why? Because that checkbox send email is not ticked. We are not checking that checkbox while creating the system log record. Let's click on debug again. This time, instead of when the flow is going to trigger, we will select updated, and we are going to check that field called send email. We need to check this field. Go ahead and click on run, and this time there is some error. While it is getting the query, you see there is some error coming up. Let's see what the error is. It says emails comma separated cannot be filtered in a query call. It cannot be filtered because it's a text area long field. Let's click on edit flow and remove that filter. Sorry, it has to be active equals true. So to make sure that your config is correct, you can create a validation rule so that every user has to provide email while they are creating the record entry for email config. Let's debug it again. Updated and select log. Make sure the send email checkbox is checked and click on run. This time the dark blue line will say that okay, this is coming over here, this is coming here, and the send email action has failed. The send email action has failed. Why it has failed? Let's see. It says save as activity must be false when sending mail to users. What ID is not available for sending the user IDs? Okay. Now there is another error. We might talk about this error later in some other video. For now, let's fix this by removing that log email on send, and we are going to untoggle that. Let's keep it as false. That was the reason, the origin of the error. Let's debug it again. Select updated, select the log record, scroll down, check the email, and click on send. This time it should, okay, it is still failing. It says what I, oh, this is not work, this is not the error because of that log, but this is because of certain other issues. Let me talk about that. Let's edit the element, and we'll say log on send is again going to be true. So this error which we are getting is coming because of, it's coming because of this. So what's the issue? It's not actually an issue, it's a limitation from Salesforce side. When we are sending, when we are basically using email template ID, okay, when we are using email template ID and we are trying to send it to user, because owner is going to be a user, right? Then we cannot set this related record ID. And if we do not do the if we do not set the related record ID, the fields will not be populated in our email, the email which will be sent to the user. So how we are going to overcome this? Because we haven't used workflow email alerts because of the limitation that we cannot provide the emails from our configuration. Now we are also getting the limitation on this action that we cannot use this. So then how we can use this, how we can overcome, how we can still send the email? There are still an option of like writing the apex triggers for sending the email, or replace this with the custom apex invocable class. Okay, so I have already basically created that apex class because I knew it this kind of issue might occur. So let's refresh this page. I'll give you the apex class so that you can utilize it without writing it. So first of all, we need to get this element for skipping one. I'm going to cut it and I'm going to paste it somewhere here on the first one. Okay, then I'm going to connect this fault path to this new element now, and this one has to go now, right? So let's delete this. We don't need this action. We need to add additional action. What is that action? I have created an apex class called email utility, which have an invocable method called send email. accept the list of request, and request is nothing which is an inner class over here. So you can request accepting 3 required parameters, and the variables has to be invocable variable, the system log ID, the list of emails, comma separated, and template ID, the email template ID. Then I'm just sending the email. I'm sending the email to whatever I'm receiving in this email list and whatever the email template we have received. Okay. I'm using a class of messaging. I'm using a method of messaging class to get the email template for me for the specific log ID and send those, and then logging that email under the email template. So let's go ahead and add it. So how we do it? We click on plus sign and then we click on action. So you have to first save your Apex class, then come back and add this action here. If you do not see your action after saving the Apex class, please go ahead and refresh this page. Click on action, and here you need to search for send email. Sorry, what is the description? It is send log emails, not email. Send log emails. Send log emails comes under email utility. Let's click on it and we will give here, we'll say AC01 send log emails. Now there are 3 required parameters as I talked about, right? There are 3 required parameters which I talked about. Comma separated email list, which we already have under the email log config and the field email comma separated. The email template ID we already have with us, and then the record ID that is also we have with us. Pass these 3 parameters, our code is not returning anything. Go ahead and click on save. Now this time after saving this, if you click on debug, we say we want to run immediately. On update, system log, select any log, make sure we check this send email and click on run. It should work without any issue now. See here the dark blue line, which is saying that now the email has sent without any issue, right? So one thing is missing, a fault path. Let's click on add a fault path and connect this to our skip. Okay, again you can add post to chatter instead of skip, that is up to you. Go ahead and click on save. Now our flow is ready. We have already tested it. We are going to go ahead and activate it. After we have activated it, let's go to the log record. Let's open any log record. Maybe let's go to system log tab. Open the log, maybe this one. I'm going to open 1003. Okay, I'm going to open 1003, which is this one. Okay, and currently the send email checkbox is unchecked. Let's check this and see what happens. Let's try to check this and save it. So as soon as you save it, on the left hand side you can see there is something called activity, and under that activity you can see there is an email has been sent from Amit Singh to Amit at wandreman.com and that sfdcpanther, and I have received those email. Let me show you. I've already opened my email, and if you see here, this is the email which I've received just now. Okay, I've received just now, and I see the details over here. Related is there, more details is there, and if you click on it, it is going to take me to the error log record. That means our email send email functionality is working fine, at least for updation of the record. Now let's go ahead, go to the contact record. Maybe let's go to John Jacob and go to test, because anyway it's going to give us the error, right? But still it's not going to work because that send email checkbox we are not setting while creating the system log record. So you can go ahead, modify your flow and make sure you set the value send email to true while you're creating the system log record, and it should actually trigger the email to whatever the configuration which you have made. So This is basically, again, this is the some part of your logging framework that you can utilize. Next thing that you can do is you can create a screen flow where you query the system log record based on the parent ID and you display in the form of table. You can also do that, and that would be uh, that flow can be added as a detail page inside account, contact, case, to know that how many system logs has been generated for that record. So that is basically, you can definitely do it. Okay, that is the enhancement. Again, there are more and more enhancement. You can do it in the framework. That is up to you. So this is it for this video. Thank you for your time, and if you're still here, I really appreciate your patience, because this video has been more than I think somewhere around 80 minutes, 70 to 80 minutes, where we have covered the complete logging framework. If you have a questions, please put down into the comment section. If you want any clarification on the framework, you can put into the comment section, and you will get the details about the codings and other things into the pinned comment for your reference. Thank you. We will meet into the next video. Till then, keep learning. Bye bye, and keep enhancing your skills. Thank you.